Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel, and yeah, thank you very much for joining me once again, Ahamkara. It's good to have you on the channel again.
Nice to see you again, and looking forward for talking today on a new subject.
Excellent. So, I guess my first question is, how do you connect to nature, the land, and nature around you when you're in nature? Are there certain practices that you do? Is there a certain mindset that you take up? Would you like to just speak on that?
There's many ways to connect. We do ceremonies, we do rituals, but in the beginning, when you just arrive to the nature place, for example, you just give a greetings to the spirits which is living in this place, because every nature place have spirits, and they are different. And first, what we have to do, we have to say hello. Yeah, like you come and you say hello inside yourself, or you can also do it with a small ceremony, like you give a little bit of food and you place this food to the place where you arrive. And that's like a greeting ceremony, you can say, for the spirits. And of course, if you're living in the nature, then you don't do that all the time, because you're connecting in another way, because you are connecting more deeper. And you just, when you wake up in the morning, you see nature around you, and you know some spirits around you, just say hello to them, and uh, this connection already going on like this. But when you just arrive, then normally you do a small ceremony like giving food, because in my tradition, food is a very common offer for the spirits, because food is something what is important for us, and we share it with the spirits. Of course, they don't need our food, but they need our attention, what we give with this food.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, I was going to ask you. So I make offerings to the land too when it comes to food. Sometimes I'll put it in a little ceramic bowl that wouldn't harm the environment if I left it there. Sometimes I'll place it directly on the ground. It depends on what kind of spirits or beings I'm trying to offer to. If I'm trying to offer to the land, I always try to make sure everything can easily go back into the land if I want to leave the offering there. So when you're offering food to the land or to nature, to spirits, do you place it on something, and what kind of food do you usually offer?
We used to say like this, like you offer normally what you like. Every person like different things. Some people like chocolate, and then for these people will be the best to offer chocolate. Some people like, I don't know, some chips. You can put chips, yeah. But I'm agree with you. Then, if there is a plastic, yeah, you just put the food which can be eaten by the animals, like ants or other birds, but we not leave the plastic or something, like you put something what the nature can digest very fast. And some people offer milk also. Milk is also very traditional offer in Siberia. Some people offer tobacco if they like smoke, like smoking people. They often offer tobacco because they have cigarettes with them, and then they just put tobacco on the ground, for example. And it's also very common sweets like candies, for example, because it's also very much common. People like to eat sweets, and that's also the offer. And one offer also common, it's coins. Often people put coins to the ground as well. Of course, it's not so easy to digest, but anyway, it's not destroy the nature, because anyway, after some years also it will be digested by the nature.
Hmm.
But plastic is, I think, the worst.
For sure, and yeah, I totally agree. So when you talk about coins offering to spirits or the land, I actually do something very similar. Usually, I try to get shiny pennies. So like a lot of the time when I enter a graveyard, for instance, we're gonna, if I'm entering a place like that, I will leave some change right when I enter into a graveyard, basically offering to that graveyard as the land, but also the spirits and the various parts of the spirits, whether it be ego or spirit, that still reside there, whatever's left behind when the soul fragments, as we talked before, I kind of offer to both the ground and to the spirits there with change. And I've seen that pop up in a lot of different practices. And So like, is there, for instance, for you, is there, when you offer change, is there any kind of coins that you generally offer? Like, do you try to do like copper ones? Do you try to do just any change? Usually I like to use pennies a lot. It seems like certain spirits really like pennies, which for us is like shiny, small shiny copper coins of 1 cent. Is there any kind of change that you prefer to offer? Something like that?
I don't think it's really important because in my opinion, what is important is your good attention to the spirits and what kind of offer, because anyway, spirits not really important. You put coins or food. For them is important your energy, like, because when we give offer, we also kind of, pay respect to the spirits and we're ready to share, we give. And that moment of giving, that's the spirits receive our good energy, good attention energy, because we believe that where is our attention, there is our energy. Yeah, and by doing offering, your attention is about connection with the spirits, and you create a good connection. And in that case, in Russia, people offer all kind of coins, like if you what you have in the pocket. Often people not really prepared for the offerings. They just see place and then they feel like to give offer. They just look what they have, and then they offer this. And sometimes if you don't have any food or any coins, you can collect the seeds of the plants, and then you can offer the seeds, because it's also very common offer like seeds, because seeds is a common offer as well in Siberia.
So it's basically about the transference of energy. It's not about necessarily specific items. That makes a lot of sense. So are there different things that, so let's say you're in a forest or a field, or maybe you're in an icy place, something like that. Is there something that you focus on based on the temperature and the temperament of the climate, that you're trying to relate to that environment with? Is based on the kind of nature you find around you? Do your practices kind of try to kind of get closer to that nature in a different way than other forms of nature? And and also I wanted to say that I agree that, man, you can offer a number of things. I sometimes I'll offer mantras, and that transference of energy can go through a mantra. It doesn't even necessarily have to be material. But yeah, I was just wondering if when it comes to nature, do you kind of change internally in regards to your natural environment, or is it just kind of like all things are okay in any natural setting?
Uh, First of all, when we are in the nature, we use our eyes to connect with nature. Yeah, because when we see trees, when we see mountains, when we see fields, the connection happen through the eyes. Yeah, and especially if you look at the trees and you say, "Wow, yeah," you enjoy it. You're really happy to see this nature, and that's make you happy. And because you by seeing something, you already connect, because through the eyes we receive most of the information, and by seeing we are already connecting. This is like one way. And as you say, you can do mantra, or you can just say few words. You say, "Oh, beautiful flowers," or "I love this tree," or coming and touch the tree, or you just lie down on the ground and feel the connection with the place. It's like not material offer, but for the spirits is also great. They also happy to get such a connection. Uh, the thing is that often people coming to the forest, for example, like hunters, they not care about nature. They just come for hunting, and they not have a connection actually. They just go for some task, and in that case, yeah, they not connecting. But most of the tourists or people who really enjoy and like nature, they come to the nature, they connecting, and then anyway they do offer by express them joy being in the nature. And another part of the question, what you ask, exist different types of nature. We split it in four types. Like Erlik is a spirit of underworld. It's a nature where a lot of dead trees, for example, or like swampy place, or some deadly place. Yeah. It's Erlik nature, we say. Also exists Ulgen nature, where there's a lot of young plants. a lot of young trees, or birch trees. Also, there's ulgane. Exist tangri places where energy is very unusual. Like you come to this place and you feel like compass is like circling, for example, or you feel like timeless in these places. This is tangri places. And umai places is the places where very comfortable and very nice. It's most of the places, I think, in the nature umai. And then depends on the place. We also can do different offers and do different ceremonies in that place. If it's Erlik, we do some transformation, cleansing, detoxing, letting go. And if it's Umai, we do some healing, protection, some kind of rituals which are related with Umai energy. And two other spirits is the same.
That makes sense. I mean, that makes a lot of sense because, I like how you keep on mentioning that, you align yourself internally as well as what you're doing externally. I was going to ask, so we were talking about, you said something about touch. So I've encountered practices where, you take off your shoes, you take off your socks, you stand on the earth, and then you picture a transference of energy. Or perhaps you might touch a tree and either picture or just purely through your senses, kind of increase the heat in your hands and then try to force that heat in and then draw some heat out from the tree, having like maybe a conversation like that. Some people, they'll strip down completely and then lay on the earth, and then the earth can accept any negativity or impurity in you, and you transfer it to the earth because the earth can take it, and we're very small and the earth can take a lot of things. How important is touch in your tradition? And like, maybe you can give a few examples of how you can physically touch nature, and then, what that does basically.
Yeah, that does a lot, because being in touch with nature, in my opinion, is good to live in the nature. Yeah, then you are part of the nature, and that's what I do every summer. Every summer we live in my healing center. I'm located in this area. Of course, Siberia nature is not very, I would say, soft. We have a lot of mosquitoes, some flies, also, it can be very cold in the night. But still, it's so pure because often you're touching the grass. We also go every day swimming in the lake, and any touch collecting medicine, flowers, herbs as well. Our kids also looking at the insects, they just looking at them, touching them, and this is all connection. But if you ask a specific way of connecting with nature, I like a way which is mentioned in the books of Anastasia. It's in the morning when you wake up. First, what you do, instead of go to the shower, you go to the grass, and the grass have, I don't know how to in English, this water from the condensate water.
Yeah.
And then you just lie down in this grass and you're rolling in this grass, and then your body get in touch with this water which is come from the air and then connecting with the grass, with the plants. And then you go swimming in the natural lake, for example, and then you like refreshing. And in my opinion, this is nice ritual, but it can be any ritual, and every person can make your own ritual to connect with nature. Some people just jogging, some people singing mantras, some people just sitting and meditating, some just to look around. And when I wake up, I go outside, I constantly see the forest and the mountains and nature. And this is also connection. And to make that connection stronger, you make some ritual. And the ritual, everyone create yourself how you like to do it. It's like a personal way to connect with the nature. Same as we connect with the people, yeah. Some people connect this way, some people connect that way. I think it's very, I would say, individual, way.
Definitely. And, I of course, I make a lot of my own rituals, which you probably know. I make a lot of different rituals based on, a lot of it's through insight. That's usually how I make rituals. I get some bare bones pieces from sources, and I'm like, hey, how can I tweak this so that I can increase my connection, or how I can connect to what's around me? So we've been talking about the benefits of connecting with nature. So somebody who does not have a spiritual connection to nature, who doesn't desire to, who doesn't have one, maybe not even that they're in a city, but they just don't value nature. How does that affect somebody spiritually, whether it be emotionally or physically or spiritually? How does not having a connection with nature affect somebody when they just have no desire to do it? And perhaps they're also in a city, but just mainly they just don't have desire to do it. How does it affect them spiritually?
The first nature is, we say it's a umai energy. Umai is being in balance, being healthy, being kind of in harmony, joy, and happiness. And that's actually most of the task what people looking for. We're all looking for being good, happy, joyful. And without nature, in my opinion, is actually impossible. Because if you live in a city, you can get something, yeah, from the city life. But at the end, it doesn't make you happy. It can make you happy for the short while, but it's like not deep happiness, yeah. I find out that by being in the nature and connecting with nature, that give you a feeling safe, give you a feeling that you are more relaxed and more happy. And when I'm living here with my kids, they never get sick here because the nature is healing. And that's why I opened my healing center here, because I know that nature is healing. And it's half of my work as a healer, nature do for the patients, yeah. And I'm sure it's very, very important for people to coming back to the nature and find the more possibilities to live in the nature or stay in the nature. And if someone cannot do that, and they live in the big cities, at least they can do visualization, like dream travels, visualization, and that's working also very good. But it's more difficult. Of course, easier just open your eyes and you are in the nature, yeah? Or you have to sit, meditate, and bring yourself to the nature in visualization, dreaming. It's more difficult, but it's also possible, and that's what can compensate those people by being in real nature. But anyway, it's so nice to hear the sounds of the birds and the insects and see flowers, trees. It's really great. And that's a real healing, because healing can be in different levels, and nature living or nature healing in a deeper level of the people.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and I always picture, if somebody's in a city, they can still find a tree usually that is and exposed ground. And I mean, I think that's, and I completely agree with you on all accounts. I think that when we're closer to nature, that where I live, I kind of like a forest, a very forested area. There's a lot of trees. There's plenty of space to connect with nature, and I try to as much as possible. So I have a question that I'm not sure is relevant to your path, but I would like your opinion on it. So when we're talking about nature, there's a lot of different kinds of spirits. So I believe that one tree is like one soul, and then another tree is another soul. But then when we think about grass, is every blade a different soul? Where are the divisions in nature where one entity begins and it ends, and then another entity starts? It feels like that when I'm in nature, it feels like there's this continuous, like solid, like all one thing kind of feeling. But then, I think that, okay, we were plants in former lives, in my understanding. Not trying to say that's your understanding, but my understanding, we were all plants, minerals in former lives. So where does one entity or being begin and another, and then another begin? Do you have any comments on that?
That's difficult to say, because if you look at the human body, for example, we have organs in our body, and we believe that every organ have a spirit as well. And if you look at the deeper, then every organ have a cells, and every cell also have a spirit in a way. And of course, we cannot see the cells with our physical eyes, and we connect what we see. Yeah, if you see a plant, then you can connect to the plant, and this plant have a spirit, and you can connect directly. But of course, the same types of the plants, they also have a spirit, like a group spirit, yeah, or same trees. or the forest, yeah. When I'm working in the nature, I often feel the borders, like you walking is more or less similar energy, but then you're crossing certain border and then coming another energy. And then you realize, okay, this is like one spirit, and then you cross the border and then there's another spirit there. And that's, you can recognize only like intuitively. And, that exists because exist different, areas. Yeah. But I'm sure that all the same type of the plants, they also connected. For example, in every season in our fields around here, growing different plants. Like this year, it's a lot of blue flowers. It's a plant which is making you like very relaxed relaxed nerve system, help you to sleep. And I think it's happened because last couple of years, we're always searching for this plant because we want to make medicine out of this plant. And it was not so many. We just have to look all around to find it. But this year, it was like all field full of this plant. It's in my opinion, our intention is also influence the plants. Like was looking and we were searching for this plant. We like to have more of this plant around, and now we have like whole fields of this plant growing. And exists like individuality of each of the plant, but of course those plants create groups, and there's like a spirit of the forest, or spirit of the flower, or spirit of the tree. It's exists like the bigger spirits and more power the spirit have.
That makes sense. That's honestly, yeah, I'm glad you clarified that. It's something I think about a lot. Where does one soul end, another begin? With spirit, it feels like I can differentiate like vaguely where one energy stops, another begins, probably not as well as you. But I'm always thinking about, where are the lines and things? I think that one of the last questions that comes to mind that I wanted to ask you is, let's say you have a land that's been very neglected. Perhaps its spirit has gone catatonic. Maybe there's a lot of trash there. Maybe a lot of people just did not treat the land right, or never really addressed it, never thought of it as being a being. How do you heal a piece of land that's polluted, like a piece of land that is like not just physically, but the physically also has a spiritual consequence? So are there certain ways you can heal a land? Is it something that's something that one person can do?
The best way, in my opinion, to clean land energetically is to pray. To pray for land and wish that in this land grow some plants. Like we did it with this blue flower example. Yeah, we have intention that flower grow. And that's what we can do for the land which is polluted. Like we can come to this land and make a wish, dreaming that in this land grow a lot of trees, a lot of flowers. And that intention will work, and that's help to clean, because nature have incredible power. It's a question of time, and nature anyway will heal itself, yeah. But if we want to do it faster, we can speed up that. We just can take plastic away, for example. We can little bit clean physically this area, and we can make an intention, like a dream travel to make this place green again. And it works. It works really good, and we can see it in our area. This place we're going to build eco village where I'm standing now. There's about 200 hectares of land, and many people like to take land here to build eco village, that people can live in harmony with nature. It's we're still using electricity, we're still using but some washing things, but we try to make them healthy. Like if you're washing in washing machine, we know it's coming to our land, this water, and we use only like natural things which is not polluting, and like plants can digest it, and that's the idea. Like because if you're living in the nature and at the same time you take care of the nature, it's a great way of kind of symbiosis. Like we in harmony, we are living together, and we're not just only taking, but we exchanging, we're receiving, but also we take care of the nature. And I think this is the future, how it will be. Not only taking from nature, but really exchange. You take something, but you also make it nice afterwards.
Excellent. And that's something that's very much been lacking since industrialization. Really the exchange of energy, giving back and not assuming that you own the land and that the land is something that you completely control and that you don't have to give back to. I think that a lot of us are starting to wake up to the idea that that's not the case. I guess the last thing that I would ask is, what message would you like to tell people out there as far as, I don't know, a general message about nature, how to connect to it, what you should kind of do, just like briefly, what do you want to tell people out there about nature?
I would say like this, that I wish people to get more in the nature and more connecting with nature. In my opinion, is one of the most important things in our life, because in industrial area, industrial time is not so long compared to the human life. Like we have it only like 200-300 years. And before, our ancestors been always connecting with nature, and that's why we're missing that. And if people get more connecting, then they get more healthy. Also, in my opinion, by having your own land, it's give you security. And I wish people to have a dream to have your own piece of land. And this piece of land give you security because this land can always feed you. Imagine there is no shops and all the shops closed, collapse for some reason, And if you have your own land, you always will survive because you can grow potato, you can grow vegetables, you can even collect eatable plants. Like around us, so many eatable plants, then you can collect them and eat them, and it's always help you to survive. And in my kind of advice to the people, number one, go and connect different ways as you like, just be in the nature. And second, dream about to have your own piece of land where you can get more security. And it's different when you have your own land. It's give you such a good feelings, because if you come just to the park, it's not your land. It's a land belongs with someone. And if it's your own land, it's give you such a great feelings, like, I am safe. And I wish everyone to have that safe feelings with the nature and with the piece of land.
That's excellent. And it is a remarkable thing to own land. I feel like we'll eventually get to a point where there's plenty of land for everybody. It's just about certain people owning a lot of it. It was really great talking to you. So thank you very much for joining me. I guess we'll talk for a bit after in the recording, but I just want to say, hey, thank you very much for talking to me. And what is your YouTube channel under?
Ahamkara Fox Arrow. If you Google it, Ahamkara Fox Arrow.
Excellent. So everybody, whether you're on his channel or mine, check it out. He's got a great channel, and I hope that we will work together in the future. At any rate, everybody out there, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for considering nature, and I hope all of y'all have a wonderful connection with nature and endeavor to do more.
Thank you.